understand that, we live in a nation. We live in that one nation under God, the one that should be indivisible with liberty and justice for all. It's just unfortunate that it's just us. Is it just us? I believe it is just us because we're the ones that's held to the highest standards. We are the ones, when the system just doesn't work, that suffer the most. And people just really don't understand. As I say, pimping ain't easy, but G-O-T and then D-A-M, somebody's doing it. When I was over there on Wisdom, I would be talking, and I could talk for hours. And over there on Anchor was the same way. You know, people would just sit back and listen. It gets difficult to listen, and we can always turn the camera around. You don't have to look at me. But the real reality is the question is, and the question is, as it always is, what are you doing in the year of 2025 that even states you're alive? Here we're living in a nation where public education is mandatory. Yes, it is. Participation is mandatory, but they've made some things very prevalent here in Nevada. You could be a habitual disciplinary problem. That's right. A habitual disciplinary problem. What is that? Well, I don't know, because public education should be about providing support to transition behaviors. And I do mean transition, meaning get a better outcome or a better output, whatever. Let me see if I can share my show. Just share it a little bit. Because, well, it's on you to follow the pathway. The pathway to what? You know, Obama really did some things when he was president. He made it so that if you didn't graduate from high school at the 8th grade level, that you could go and get 2 years of vocational training with a roof over your head and food in your belly and some cash in your pocket. He fixed it. But then, there's always people. Hello? There's always people sitting on the sidelines waiting to transition, flip the money or flip the script, so to say. Because just because the law is written one way doesn't necessarily mean. Well, thank you so much for the compliment. Looks aren't everything. And I am talking about public services that are mandatory and public education, because it's mandatory. And so many people just don't even understand how you give permission for people to come into your life and take your children. I'm having a blessed day. The deal is that people can choose to participate or engage, and they really don't have to. But I think we're all responsible for the lack of outcomes, meaning that for here in Nevada, they have a huge number of children in the foster care system. And it's sad. And then when you hear the stories of people talking about how they lost their children, it's even sadder. I mean, but family values and family, people thinking about what they do for families. And most communities don't even pay attention. It's not about family anymore. It's about, somebody got that. And they're just doing whatever they want to do. I mean, the Boys and Girls Club and the YMCA and, so many not-for-profit organizations really do happen. And we're all paying. Thank you so much for the compliments. We're here just to talk about the lack of engagement in America. Because people don't do politics. What are politics? Well, you pay taxes. I want to promise you, we all pay taxes. And you're going to pay taxes probably till the day you die. And then there's going to be some taxes on top of that too. And then if you have anything coming back to you, if you haven't created a will or a last testament, it's going to be difficult for your family to get whatever you left behind. So you have to actually put their names on the documents. And you really do. That ends all of the bullshit. And it really just does. And so, thank you so much for giving, support. People can't be afraid of sharing what's in their head. And, what was it? It was the Beatles that talked about what the world needs now is love, sweet love. But, hey, there are so many songs that talk about, caring for your neighbor and investing. And people really don't even understand because tithing, what is tithing? It's not 10%. It's not money. And it just never has been money. But what are you willing to give of yourself that you chose to go through, stress, whatever, to make it to where you are? Hello and welcome. And so now we are where we are. And we could lose our lives. It could end so quickly. But then right now, we happen to have all of these tools and, what is this, YouTube? Just a tool. And somebody said something they didn't want to say. And then, hey, it is real. But here you are, living in the year of 2025. And I want to encourage people, say what you want to say. But how you paint yourself is on you. Because that is in your category, so to speak. And I have things in my own category. Things that I've said. And things that they say, oh, well, you could be restricted. And I have been restricted before. And quite frankly, it doesn't stop me. Freedom of speech is how you see it. Freedom of religion, freedom of thought. Freedom is the freedom that we all have a right to choose. And we just do. And choice is everything. But once you've chosen, it doesn't matter. Because then it becomes the trials and tribulations. Turbulent times are coming. Because somebody has chosen to go in a direction and we don't follow. I say so many people who choose not to follow, well, they're not leading. They go to the movies and, everybody needs a break, I guess. And television is just what it is. It's the vision of whatever you choose to bring in your space. So a lot of people just watch television. They work and they watch television. And then all of this chaos is happening all around us. And then we have all of the babies that are being unalived because people lack skills. And you say, well, you always thought that the system took care of everything. And it doesn't. I mean, I was trying to figure out, under child fine, under the regulatory guidance that the federal government gives to all of the states, it has this section called child fine. And under child fine, at the age of 3, your physician, your doctor, will assess your baby, like they do the 1-year-old checkup and the 2-year-old checkup. Well, that 3-year-old checkup is supposed to talk about language development and all that other stuff. And then if your child needs some support in school, that information can be sent to your school and your child can get speech and language services. Well, it's just a recommendation from your physician. But if these healthcare providers are not doing that work, and then your child's just behind and has been behind, and then I'm just trying to understand what a habitual disciplinary problem is, because we have special education, and we just do. And we have idea.gov. I mean, when you go to that website, they have services for children you can expect to have for your children from birth till 23. And then, if you go to usa.gov, you can look at all of the states, and it will tell you what is the mandatory age of beginning educational services and what's the last year that they feel that they're obligated to give you an opportunity to get your high school diploma. But, not all states do adult diplomas. I mean, as you're an American, we should have been striving to ensure that adequacy happened for the least of us. But then so many people have chosen, and they think that I'm whatever, and I think that I'm whatever too, because I'm just going to be whatever. Because I can say whatever I want to say, because it makes sense to me. And it's just a shame that so many people live in a little tiny box, and the box is no bigger. And we're on this little tiny box right now. It's a cell phone. But boxes are real, but never step out of the box. So never let yourself go. And it is what it is. Quite frankly, I had it really short, and I cut it, and then I bleached it so that it would curl up, because this Negro hair is really behaving when it's bleached. And I got to tell you that, because it just laid down really smooth. But now it's kind of whatever, wiry is the way it is, and it is what it is. But I guess I'm just disappointed. I'm disappointed because we have a category of taxation system of the taxes in America, and African Americans are taxed. And we have so many African Americans in the entertainment categories, entertainment, and they have a whole new tax system, and they want to tax the movie set, because Nevada is going to have, like Hollywood. They were thinking about moving the Hollywood sign here, but I doubt it. They should just have, Vegas Desert, a sign that says the Vegas Heat or the Vegas Desert, because you're in the desert and it just gets hot here. But we all pay for the AC. I mean, my AC bill is $451 a month, and I'm just grateful that I finally got some extra help from, Medicaid. Medicaid gives extra help, and I just don't understand why so many people don't use that money, because it's your benefits. But it's so unfortunate that people are telling me that they retired here from the casinos. I mean, it's not my fight, right? And when they turn the age of 66, 67 and a half, then they lost their pension. It's like they only get Social Security now. It's not like it's a higher rate. It's disgusting, because that just means people are stealing. But if you don't know you have rights, then I'm sorry. No one's going to talk about what you have a right to. And that's just the way it is. Those are books over there behind me. But when you look back on history, you understand what Fannie Lou Hamer did at that Democratic convention. But then this is not then. This is now. This is 2025. And, when you file a complaint, because you can file a complaint online, have all these online tools, just do the PDF form. But, when these states have made policies and the NRS codes, they talk about what they do to try to meet the basic rights of human rights. And then they're missing the mark. I mean, just totally missed the mark. What is the letter grade of F? And why should we as a people? I mean, I'm a citizen here. I'm a senior citizen. And, when they're holding on to my mama's tax money, they don't want to leave it go. But, they any money I pay on taxes, boo, they're going to keep it. So guess what? Because I'm beyond the age of the collection process, and I ain't making no money, because y'all ain't giving it. I mean, you need to have subscribers. You don't have to pay the money, but you have to subscribe, or somehow know when people go live and then click the link. It used to be different when we had advertising. We're in $50 trillion world of private public. I mean, what is private public? Public schools, because the private schools have just taken the money. And 51% or more can take a regular school and transition it into a school. But when you don't know the rules, you can't do nothing. You just accept the failure. No, none of my children ever accepted. I never accepted. But, a couple of Fs did get in from ignorant people who just wanted to put an F on the record. No, it doesn't work like that. Because if you're saying my child's not getting it, then you need to show me what they need to do so that they can get it, because that's your job. And people don't understand that that's what they get paid for. But when they took and made Wesley Snipes come back from a shooting, film production, a judge ordered him back. and put him in jail because tax evasion, boo. And I'm saying this Negro is paying taxes and paying taxes happily. But this Negro doesn't demand to sit down and talk to the local politicians as to how they spend that money when it comes back to the local community. I'm concerned because the failure has just been accepted. What is the value of a letter grade of F? Anybody want to chime in? You know, an F is an F. It's all of these people getting paid, and you have a right to hold a person accountable. Did you know you can sue your board members? Hello, hello, hello. I'm just chilling on the patio. I would actually prefer to be here talking to myself or talking to you or whoever's tuning in than sitting somewhere feeding the machine at the casino. But know that I know the opportunity to win it just exists. My mama won 222,000. Although she took the early payout, she certainly did and walked away from half that money. But she's entitled to some tax return, and I'm waiting on it. And what happened because she passed away more than 2 years ago. Every day is a day that what? That was gifted to us. And I know that I'm blessed because I have a roof over my head. And then I think about so many people just don't grow up in a family environment. I had my mama till she was 85. And she always had a man. And that's just real. Now, I don't see the necessity of just having to have a man, but I've heard some horror stories out here. Women want to talk about the abuse that they suffered. And then, in other countries, they just really just abuse women. They ain't got no rights over there in the other countries. I like it right here. Well, I have a right to be me and a right to be free. Suffering the consequences of what? Because we don't live in that kind of world anymore. No, my child did not fail public education. However, when I had him, they said that he had speech and communication ability or disability, but they said he was severely MR. And you know the words, what they stand for, and wouldn't benefit from public education. I said, well, we'll see. Because he acted just like the other children. When I told him, baby, go throw away the diaper for mama, he could do that. You know what I'm saying? He could figure out how to escape in the house, because he got out one time and the security guard had to bring him back to me. And I'm just saying, I don't have no children who are not intelligent. And even my grandbaby is super intelligent. And she knows too much. But she knows how to flow. She knows how to rap. And I listen to her and she listens. And she understands the world. How is it that these babies are born right now and understand the world? And can tell you to not be pissed off at their parent because their parent just didn't know no better. It's behind me. This is a chair. There's nothing behind me. And the vacuum cleaner, and then there's a box over there, but there's some books on top of it. They got moved there. I didn't want to really throw away my books and stuff, because my mama has been collecting her whole life and just going away and going through stuff. Well, hello, hello. And I'm just saying, the world has gone beyond where we should not. Yeah, my house has smoke alarms. Because we live in a metal box. These are prefab homes. And it's completely paid for. So I really don't care. You know what I'm saying? The maintenance is key. Well, we all gonna have because what is it? We buy the phones in the first place. We don't own these phones. They do. And any app you put on there, they got access to whatever you're doing and whenever you're doing it. And the deal is that, a network administrator can just mimic you and put anything on your device. This is just bullshit. It's not even ethical anymore because there are criminals out there. And they're all waiting. The manufacturer in India, those people have jobs. And what y'all got here in America? Tell me. Because when graduation happened and these people paying all this money for these credentials and degrees, and they can't get no job in their community. And I ain't lying. So read a book, write a book, right? Do something, but produce something so you can have some content. I've been producing content, for more than 20 years because It was the school board meetings that I used to go to that amazed me that no other people were in there. I mean, black folks just wasn't showing up. And then 100 black men, something was going on in the district, and the 100 black men came, that little leader of that group. And he's going to tell the parents not to come up to the podium and talk because he didn't want them seeming like they were ignorant. And I'm saying, listen, it's what they have at stake, and it's all they have is their children, and their children have a right to make it, because freedom ain't never been free. But if you can't read and write and comprehend the King's English, boot, it ain't gonna happen, because it's more than me, and it's just more than you, and that's just real. It's we the people. But we've always had this thing called house and field mentality as it exists. House Negroes, we're the ones that say, bosses, we sick, and and then field Negroes were always trying to figure out how they're going to run. And I'm saying, understand what Michael said when he said they really didn't care about us. We have to care about ourselves. But if you don't care about yourself enough to understand that it is we the people, it is just we the people. Thank you, Stephen and Nyla, yeah. It's just, it is time and beyond time. People say grand rising. They do mean it, because we are living in a nation where we are forced to participate. Forced participation, what I'm saying, I mean, the whole system, top down, local control. And then we have black people in towns and communities. I've got the NAACP. My homegirl told me that no matter what I wanted to talk about, that it would not get discussed unless it came to her. And I'm saying, well, boo, who died and made you my new master? So nobody tells me what to do. I talk about what I want to talk about simply because I've been there before. The one area in which I really never participated in was the juvenile justice. And, there was a student who reached out to me and made contact. And he said that, he thought that they were going to try and kick him out of school because he was 18. He didn't have any credits. And they were just promoting him every year. But now it was coming down to something had to happen because his IEP had never been implemented. And his mama was special. That's real. But, he was really definitely afraid. And so he contacted me, and they had arrested him. And because he was trying to get away from the principal was trying to restrain him. He had this kind of panic kind of thing going on, And he had some kind of opposition defiant disorder or whatever. But, the whole thing is people have to understand how to learn how to manage those behaviors. And he had a right to learn how to do that. But he was wise enough to seek some support from me. And so I went to court for him. And I also wrote letters on his behalf. But the day I showed up in court was the day they had him arrested. He was going to do 5 years. He was facing 5 years, felony assault, that stuff under, terroristic threat at the school district. And anyways, the judge threw it out of court, and he was released that morning. And he thanked me, and, I talked to his mother a couple more times, but he didn't graduate. And so many people just don't graduate from high school. And what are they doing? Well, needless to say, I can share with you that bit of knowledge, because a lot of people would be happy to get locked up and go to juvenile hall, because at least they have a roof over their head and a place to eat, because otherwise the streets are ugly and so much viciousness out there. And the babies, when you come out, you don't have no skills, so you're going to have to give up something. And those openings in your body is what these children are doing, because they don't have nothing else. And then there's no program that was created, because the lazy ass local people who don't have time have not fought to have real services that they can measure and monitor and ensure these children have a pathway to go. No, they arrest them. Because if you ain't got no skills, you're going to get hungry. And when you get hungry, you're going to make a decision, and that decision is not going to be for your best interest. And then people you know, they just, I'll say, mooch on each other. You know, it's hard to help people because they just lack skills. And so let's just not pretend that reading and comprehension, and let's not pretend we don't even know. Local Control Accountability Act happened. The LCAP happened. And it was a federal thing. But then when you go through Nevada, they just talk about all the mandates that happened, what they didn't participate in. And they didn't. They just didn't do it. And what you understand is all states have this thing called flexibility, but so flex it. Choice is everything. But people who allow themselves to be oppressed, I'm not one of those. And so, I was the one parent who went with Jim Sweetie to Texas, Amarillo, Texas. And when he was getting ready to look at the new schools models, because, there is it was like a big old convention kind of thing. Like all the schools who were selling their model were there to present. And Sac City Unified School District had me as a parent, and then a couple other administrators and stuff. We all went, and it was awesome. That's what I'll say. But went on this little riverboat there, and just toured the schools. I was either thinking about the KIPP Academy or Science and Engineering, which was one of the small dependent charter schools that they set up. And, my son was in the Science and Engineering Academy. And it was a dependent charter school that Sacramento City Unified School District had created. And my son went from 7 to 12, and he graduated. And above proficient, might I say. And he was a full special education student. And when they said that, he had to take the high school exit exam, he passed it in the 8th grade when it was supposed to happen. He learned what he was supposed to learn because you don't understand. They got this shit all mapped out. I don't understand. Where's the data? Nevada don't seem to have no data that demonstrates the maintenance of effort for grade level proficiency for children of color. For any children. Shoot. Because the way I see it, when you go to the store and you buy something, and your order costs $23 and something odd cent, and you give somebody $40, and they say that you gave them too much money, and they give you $20 and some change. Oh, but your order was 30 something. But just because the machine tell you how much to count back don't mean that they can still comprehend that. The comprehension is key, boo. And just the inability to communicate effectively. I'm not really into history. I'm gonna go get me those fly traps because these bugs are gonna be out here. I got the bug zapper over there, and it's zapping these bugs. But it was amazing because when we first moved here, we didn't see any flies at all. It's just these last 2 years there have been flies out here. But the first 2 years, there was nothing. I don't know. You only know what you know. And, look into the light. The light, look into the light. Whatever the light is, you figure it out. It is whatever. Because quite frankly, if you don't get the high school diploma in America, just like the green card, if you have your green card, you haven't had it renewed, and did you see that they're going after students who were here on visas that participated in the protests? And I'm saying, wow, here we are, a nation that's saying that we have freedom of speech and we have a right to protest for rights, what? And then when you can't have these people who don't got no rights in their country come over here and do that, because now they're going to send them back to their country. And I'm saying, y'all going to find out that everybody ain't never been free. But quite frankly, freedom is the ability to act on knowledge. And you have to have a level of knowledge to even act. And if you don't have no knowledge, then what can I say? it is what it is. It's a different plane. I mean, everybody, you know, it's just what Stevie said. Everybody's got a thing, and they soon ought to know how to handle it. But soon they're reaching out in vain. And what can I say? It's all about those smiling faces. We can sit back and laugh and smile and hee-haw, but so many people are just not making it. And what can I say? They don't even have a roof over their head. But when it rains here, and the flash floods happen, and those people have been living down underground, and they know they're down there, but they haven't given them a pathway anywhere else. I mean, in California, I believe when, what's his name? That one who built the arena, Kevin, when the Kevin Johnson, he had gotten he did a lot of things. He made sure that arena got built down there, right downtown center. He got that arena built. And, he was an amazing person, but he was advocating and trying to advocate for African-American students too, because he communicated with me. He told me I was a dangerous person to speak to in public. He would never talk to me unless I was with my sister, and that's just real. But I'm not worried. I mean, I talk all the time, and people can figure out what I'm talking about, because just go. And I'm going to tell you, when I first got here, these, what should I even refer them as, ignorance? Well, because I've been on Facebook since Obama. I was an Obama mama. Hell, I was making phone calls for the Obama people in other states. And that was the only time I did that. But I did it for Obama. And then, of course, I ran for office in '08 too. I ran for school board. And it was the same year. It was an iconic kind of thing, because me and my sister both were running for school board. We just didn't have that level of impact, because we didn't have that level of support, because people were voting on the ticket. And they can just see. It really doesn't matter. It didn't stop me. My kids were all successful. And what is success? Absolutely nothing. Because it's the independent thought, the ability to be a creative and make something happen, irregardless of your circumstance. And we really did, because when I was a Vista, I worked for Rural California Housing Corporation, was first year, and then they merged and went with the Sisters of Mercy Housing in San Francisco. Anyways, we're Sisters of Mercy. They bought those properties in Sacramento, and I worked for Crossroad Gardens. So the first year, I was a neighborhood services coordinator. That's what they labeled me, and that was my label. And then the second year, I was a neighborhood services coordinator for youth development. But what I was able to do is they did have a child care center. It was amazing to have a child care center there, but I felt it needed to be a Head Start center. So we partnered with the state, and we made that a Head Start center, early childhood. So they took babies from 5 weeks to 5 years old. Now think about that. In the apartment complex where you live, there's a child care center. And then for that apartment complex, we had a community room, because they had a janitorial service, and the janitor had the big old huge room. Oh no, we got him a little store closet. And then we made a community room for the residents to come and meet. And then, they would do activities. And it would be the residents that would help coordinate those activities. But when I left, they hired this one guy, his name was Eric, and he was coordinating all of because what I did was I partnered with Sac State University for them to send out, people who were working and wanted a job to come and work in the apartment complexes, because we had an after-school program. We got computers donated from the city, and we got software donated from Microsoft. It was awesome, because everybody wants to partner with you. You know what I'm saying? And so, what I don't understand is I'm here in the city of lights and all this technology, wondering where the fuck is Google? I mean, how come Google's not partnering in the school district with these local schools? And really, they could use all kind of help, because, people bring in a part of a software and they only know their part. And instead of working with these corporations, I just don't even know what happened in America, because we used to use universities. Universities used to be the ones that would advise the congressmen as to, and help to write the laws. Then all of a sudden, think tanks is all that they're using. People coming in, there's too many educated people that have educated themselves out. And it just is what it is. But, it still doesn't excuse your obligation to do what? Manage your own children. I mean, give your children the perspective of life and liberty and justice, and not just us. And that's just real. There's not an option, and never has been an option for me. My son is in a cybersecurity class, my youngest one. But my oldest one, well, he's getting ready to write a book. But he helps do web design and web, he's a professional is what it is. And, you only understand what he can do by seeing his work. And then my middle child, well, he's an entertainer, and he loves to entertain. He's a security guard, but he's a comedian, and he's a lover at heart. And I'm hoping that one day he finds somebody that will love him as much as he loves somebody else, because he's a hard lover. But, people are not looking for good people anymore. These women, I don't even know. But, I do have one grandbaby, and she can stay with me anytime she wants to stay with me. And that's just real, because I'm here. How big is what? I don't know. Pimping ain't easy. That's what I'll say. The reality is that, most of our people are ignorant. And I guess there's nothing wrong with that. You don't have to know. How big is what? I really fail to understand. When I stopped dating, it was like 20 years ago. Check out what? Oh, I'm going to tell you what Dick Gregory said. The ass is something you shit out of. And that's all I can tell you. And, these women get these things done to their bodies. And you sit on your ass and you shit out of your ass. And that's all you do. But people have these fantasies. And is what? I wear a size, I'm 5'10". And I wear a size 6. And I'm not skinny. I'll stand up. And I'm not ashamed either. There we go. I'm in pretty good health. And I got to do some more muscle building, because right now it's getting that fat in the muscle right there. It used to all be lean. But lean then went away because age done caught up. And really, life is a blessing if we are living every day. And my mama lived till she was 84. I wish she had lived till she was 85. A couple months short. But just having her here was a blessing, truly, an honor. Because my mother didn't graduate from high school, but she married my stepfather, and she was with him for 20-something years. And, when they separated, she was on her own. Oh, somebody wants to say something again. It doesn't even matter. That's what I'm trying to tell you. It doesn't matter what you look like. It matters that you know who you are. I promise you that. And so my mom challenged the state board and got her nursing license. And then she was an LVN. She worked for University of Davis Medical Center on Stockton Boulevard in Sacramento, and she worked there for 20-something years, and then she passed when she had a stroke. But we can't be eating all the hog. The high blood pressure is real in our communities, and we have an obligation to ourselves. That's what we have an obligation to. And the one thing that our system is so corrupt and it's all focuses on the sexual part, but doesn't talk to you and doesn't teach you how to communicate with your partner. And quite frankly, families and family values just don't exist anymore. And I'm just saying. And then we got, I'm living my best life, ain't got time to deal with you. And they really don't. And then, we gonna F up the night, we gonna fuck it up. Because she could, and she did. And, but, hey, Janet's coming here, and I guess all her tickets are not selling out like they, but this is a time where people don't know what the hell's gonna happen. Because they were able to do what? Cut the Social Security checks already. Cut them. And so, there are going to be time. I mean, these kids are getting out of school, and they ain't got no skills. And what is, those 14 or so young black African Americans that ran from that jail. Did you look at the faces? These were children, but they referred to them as men. But when they refer to black people, they refer to you as monsters. That's how they see you. And that's why we got to see this Diddy stuff going on. But quite frankly, everybody involved in the Diddy shit had a choice. They didn't have to be there, but they had some money and could do what the fuck they wanted to do. And that's what they were doing. And we're not a part of it. And I never would have been a part of that shit. And it disgusts me that we have to have our children listening to this shit like it's something great. And it's not. It's what they do, and it's how they control us. And it's just real. They say what you can talk about, what you cannot talk about. And it's against the rules, and they can ban you and restrict you for showing, that song, Black Bodies Hanging from the Tree, whatever. And Homegirl sung that song. Actually, my niece sang it. It's on my YouTube channel. But, I don't know. I never did it with oil. So the whole thing is, whatever they were talking about, whatever that disgusting, it's a depraved mind. People had choices. People who chose to do that. I would have never done it. I'm old. I missed that bus. But there was a whole group of people who had all kind of money and they were doing that kind of thing. And then when they start listing off people and names and people that were participating in that shit, well, it wasn't you. What can I say? It's hot here in Vegas. Well, it's like we're living in hell. That's what it's like. I have no idea. I just know one thing. I chose not to listen to the R. Kelly, whatever was going on, because it was a lot of children, a lot of young people who made choices trying to sleep their way up the ladder. And when you choose to do something for money, why do I have to hear about it? It was and then the Bill Cosby stuff. Seems like since I've been living as an adult, it's crazy, but every black entertainer that ever, now they even have something on Smokey Robinson. I'm waiting for them to throw some shit out there about Stevie. What do y'all think? I think it's coming. I get your cousin line. I was born in Mississippi, and my stepfather was in the Air Force, so I got to travel. And I have lived in California. I used to work at Marco Manufacturing Company over there somewhere in Linwood, wherever it is. I don't even recall. But anyway, I wound up getting pregnant, came home, and had my first child in California. And so I had 3 baby daddies. And guess what? Only one still lives. And he's living whatever kind of life he's living, but he doesn't really have a relationship with his child. And so he will write my son every now and then and tell him like he's had a heart attack or he's got cancer or something like that. I don't know what we're supposed to do with that. I just don't discuss it. I tell my son, well, tell me to pray for him, because that's what you can do is pray. Yeah, I would suggest going into the Navy or even the Army, because guess what? It's a job. It's a career. And whatever you do, even if you're going to be peeling potatoes or whatever you do it for your whole career in there. You work in the kitchen, that's what you do. Whatever you do, you fill a position. You have a purpose. Here in America, what kind of purpose do you have? I don't know. These kids are in school, they're getting out and they ain't doing shit. And that's just real. I've always provided the technology for my kids, because after I lost my job, and then I took a computer repair class, and I got my, you know, little certificate. It ain't shit. But then I went to go take another class, and this guy put me in the Microsoft System Certified Engineering class, and I was never going to be in that class. But that was $11,000, and because I had money on the books, oh, you better believe they got that money. It wasn't me. It really doesn't matter. It is 2025, and I was born in 1958, but I had my first child in what, 80, 82, and then 84, and then 97. And I raised my children as a single parent. And I can just say that I know I'm blessed because I'm still standing. Because my ex-husband, he passed away of a heart attack. He married somebody who was 2 years older than his son. Wow. It is a long time, but it's a blessing. My mama was born in 1937, and she just passed away in 2022, yeah. But she was awesome. She was awesome, and she just loved the world, and she loved us all. And, she had five kids. We're still all living, and as long as we're living, I'm wondering how come we can't, we're just a family of intelligent people. Everybody got a little high school diploma or got some kind of degree somewhere. But, it'll come a time when we can choose to work together or move on. Me too, because I sure miss her. But guess what? She was an awesome woman. And, she took care of me. And that's just real. That's why I got a roof over my head and a car and her pension, actually. And so, I'm just grateful that O.J. Simpson never lost his pension. And I know that I won't lose mine. Yeah, because, hey, COVID is real. And then the games that they play with us. I mean, it's a real thing to create content and put it out here and then be making money on one platform. Like we were all making money on Anchor. I don't know if you were on Anchor, but it was $25, $30, and it had begun to be $25, $30 a month. And all you had to do is just do more shows. And then they moved Anchor over there to Spotify. And so my show is over there on Spotify. It's Parent Empowerment Half an Hour. I had over 1,000 shows over there. But guess what? You have to have so many within a time frame. You have to have subscribers. And if you don't get the subscribers, it doesn't cost you any money to subscribe. And I think I didn't like that thing about subscriptions because, they really want you to be in somebody's bank account. And hello, Charlie Lake. What a name. But they really want you to, be in somebody's bank account. It's just a whole different level of engagement. And I'm saying no. It's not the television that grabs me anymore. Because, you have to just understand, you have to dedicate a whole lot of time to get all engaged and into some fake shit. And then get emotionally around that. And you're thinking people are writing these scripts to really just grab you and keep your ass sitting in front of the box. It's called an idiot box for a reason. Charlie, I'm sorry about your dog. But there's probably a lot of dogs out there that need a good home too. Because dogs can't take care of themselves in 2025. That was so long ago. It's dangerous to put your children outside unless you have a great yard where you can control and pay attention to your children. Because there's always somebody out there perverted thinking about something different than you're thinking about. And it's not about the good times. It's sad that we live in this kind of world, but it is really sick. And I'm saying, what is it that you do when people just even fail to communicate? It's not like we have town halls. We don't have, we can do better, but it really doesn't matter because I'm going to tell you, the universe is going to decide that we will do better. Did y'all see all them fires in down there in Southern California? Twice. Areas so huge, just fire, just massively wiping out all those homes, block after block after block. Even the banks, everything burned. I'm saying, wow, that was real. And then now we're seeing all these earthquakes and everything. But then note this, while all this shit is going on, do understand that the volcanoes in Italy and the volcanoes in the Gulf and tectonic plates, I mean, it's not like it's the news anymore. Well, Charlie, get a good night's sleep because I believe you know it. It's time for your bedtime. I don't know. I don't have a really set bedtime. I do know that, I'm going to go pick up my son. He gets off work at 11 and he works at a casino. And I'll pick him up and then just chill because I can simply. And, there's all these levels that people have to climb to get to where, but it really is a sacrifice. And trials and tribulations, your way. I had to, going to take what? Oh, yeah, well, I don't know. If I do have to take this little thing to hold my phone so y'all can see what I'm doing. A lot of people want to go somewhere with somebody that don't go anywhere with anybody. But I think that's what gets me into some of these TV shows. But I'll tell you, the most sickening show that I ever saw was Dexter. That was just disgusting to me. I just was trying to understand that one. I look behind me now. No. My kid will be coming in pretty soon. But, we can't just sit in front of I don't know, it was Dexter. It was on Netflix. And I like sci-fi, you know what I'm saying? I used to love to watch Star Trek, but pretty soon it just got to the point, and it really is this point right now. You cannot just sit back and just join the television. But they know when they got you because you are being tracked. And they know how many minutes and times and everything you do. They just know everything. They know I'm sitting right here, right now. I really don't know, but that was that Dexter series. That's what it was all about. It was about him and what he enjoyed doing mentally. But he had a government, he was getting paid out of tax dollars to do that. And I said that was just really sick. It was a television show. And I don't know about that last name. I just know it happened. And it was during the time George Bush was in office. And not big daddy Bush, but baby Bush. I mean, it's kind of like a family thing, this presidency thing. And I see now when baby Bush was in office, if you guys were watching C-SPAN, know that there were a lot of think tanks and people would come together and they would have like the great debates and sit in he killed, I don't know. I'm just saying. They would go and have meetings, and then in the morning when you wake up, it would tell you to call your congress member, and then it was a lot of red, green, and yellow, colors flashing all the time on the television networks were playing into the game. And I'm saying no more games, because you can see those games really hurt the people. Yeah, I know. I'm saying that was a sick show, but the mere fact that we endured it. That's what I'm saying. It was on television. And, people sat through it and watched it. I watched it too. It was pretty disgusting. But I'm just saying, that was then and not now. So now I want to talk about, how many babies. No, it wasn't. How many babies are getting into early start? Because, that Biden-Harris administration, people want to pretend like that's not something that should be happening. But even here in Nevada, they're building some kind of hotel or something for all these kids in foster care, because there's a whole lot of them that age out of foster care that don't have services. And I'm just saying, really, what do we do as a nation? What do we create here? Because these kids ain't graduating out of high school, And when they do, what can they really do? Who wants to call me? I don't know why you want to call me. You can get on here. Can't you just add yourself to this? I don't know how to do it. Yep. But anyways, there's a lot to be said. But you can catch my podcast over there on Spotify. It's called Parent Empowerment Half an Hour. I have lots of shows over there. I talk a lot over there. And then I talk here. No, I don't know about all that. My son might not appreciate all that. But I can tell you my number is public. When you find it, you can call me. And that's just real. And then so over there on Spotify, I have that Parent Empowerment Half an Hour. And then if you look, Citizen Anderson on Podbean, I'm over there too. And I'm just Darlene Anderson on Facebook. I'm there too. Instagram also. And so the whole thing is, this is my YouTube name, Darlene Anderson, 1958, born in 1958. That's it. Yes, that's it. I'm old and old school. I used to love to party, and I would love to go out and party now. There's just no decent. Yeah, that's great, because I consider myself a DA too. Yeah, you have to do the work. There's work for all of us to be done, and it really matters, which way and what you've chosen to do in your life. And it's always going to be a roadblock, and that roadblock is just another step that you have to take as an individual. Yep, because we have to push through this craziness. It's insanity, the next steps, because they're saying school choice. If we all have school choice, when I get ready to pay off this, I need some money, so I pay off my mom's winning timeshare so I can start having workshops. I am going to have workshops. I'm going to have workshops to empower people to understand that failure is not an option. And then my boys, do different things. And so, really it's about empowerment. And you have to empower yourself to do what? To be able to live every day, because it's always going to be something coming your way. And it's we the people. And so many people have just chosen never to do anything. There are a lot of people that live on the same city block that they were born on. And then they lost what? Their parents' home, because they didn't follow the process. They didn't do what they should have done. And I'm saying, how do you know? There's no one there to help you. We used to have churches, and we used to have, a small community, but now we're so spread out, thin, and people are just being abused. But this is the only thing that we have. And we do have it, because everything has to do with choice. So you can find the answers that you want. And AI just provides you everything. Hell, as AI bought me, it will come up with who I am and everything mostly about me. I found it to be true. But anyways, I'm tired and I'm getting ready to go. But I want everybody to go over there to Spotify, check out my podcast, and subscribe. Well, if you're here, you're using it, just know that. It's all a part of growth. Hear noises. But anyways, until we meet again, or until you follow me, check out some of my old videos. I even have Dick Gregory. Well, thank you. Double tap to like the screen. Thank you so much. But I went to go see Dick Gregory too, and that's in my videos here on YouTube. And, just parts of my life, things that I've done. And I don't know why my phone is not charging anymore. But anyways, I've got to go. So, y'all, have a blessed day. I got to go right now because my phone is dying. And I don't know why it's dying. See ya.